You are watching the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, your escape to reality.
That's cool. I did not know that.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, hey.
Welcome to the Friday live stream.
Is that what this is?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Y'all.
Jay will be back in a
Hey,
second.
How y'all are? I introduced my young daughters to the Cajun cook. You know,
I guarantee.
I guarantee, because we've been quoting that guy for 30 years.
Easily.
Easy. That plus.
Are we talking about the Cajun cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cajun chef.
What's it?
He used to say, let me tell you what I'm gonna did.
Let me tell you what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I know.
He was awesome.
Ooh, how y'all are?
Louisiana.
Yeah. So so they watched it. They love it. They're like
Really?
mesmerized by it. Like, the guy is so like captivating and calming, and now they're addicted to the Cajun chef.
Who is addicted?
Third.
Is it who is this?
Julia and Autumn.
I gotta see him again. I haven't seen him since I was a kid.
It's funny. It's good. You know, the recipes are not the most healthful recipes
No.
in the world. Little
He was the
cayenne pepper.
Everything's alligator. He was to
Yeah.
alligator what Bubba was to shrimp, I think. in Forrest Gump.
Yeah, like the catchphrase I think we quoted the most was "I guarantee." I had no idea where that came from, which is true of many things in my daughter's life, where we say things that are quoting from pop culture from the 1980s,
Antiquity.
1990s. Yeah, the ancient history, and at some point they encounter the pop reference, and they're like, "That's where that comes from."
That's great.
They almost when they watched.
I love it. It's like a treasure. You found
Yeah,
treasure.
exactly. When
Yeah.
the biggest dump of where that's where that comes from was Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Monty Python. Which line? Which line?
My
of
point
them.
is, all of them. Like we've been quoting. There's so many quotes from that movie
Oh
that
my
we dropped
gosh.
that it was like every 5 minutes he'll be like, "That's," it was funny, really, really funny.
I think my favorite quote
Oh gosh.
from their Holy Grail movie was "I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm not
I
dead
feel
yet.
happy.
I'm feeling
Happy.
It's
Flesh
so
wound.
many.
Tim the Enchanter was my favorite.
Um,
Oh, the whole rabbit.
yeah,
thing.
it's such a
I can't.
such a quotable movie. Such a quotable movie.
Still do a whole episode on just that movie.
So there's a theme
Yeah.
for this live stream,
This live stream, what is it?
and the theme is it's the Not in Perfect Health live stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Evan, wow, did you see that, Evan?
Ian.
Yep.
I keep
it happened.
calling Ian Evan and
What?
Evan Ian. It's like
Bob was calling Ian Evan throughout the whole 12-hour show.
God.
Yeah, you guys do
Yeah,
that when
well,
you're not
he-
sick. It's fine.
Well, either that or
Yeah.
a few, like 3 times within the space of a few minutes. One of those. The whole show or just for a few minutes. It's one of
Ed,
those.
But I react to it. Yes.
I-
did
I
you have
hate-
something going on?
Until you were
absolute statements
specifically
kill me.
corrected. Until you were corrected, let's put it that way.
You can call us
Yes,
even.
after 3 tries, and I apologize profusely.
I got the second dose of the Moderna COVID vaccine yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's totally kicking my ass. I'm having the same
Describe it.
response that Kara had. All right, so the worst muscle aches of any viral illness I've ever had
Really?
is number one. Normally you get a little achy, even with the flu, you feel achy, you know. I'm like off the hook achy. I'm having chills.
Are they
And
multiplying.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
you'll
can't
get to
stop
enjoy
doing
that joke tomorrow on the show. And
It's a knee jerk.
Spoiler alert.
low grade fever, and of course a lot of pain locally in the arm where I got the shot. So the constellation of symptoms was enough that I could not sleep at all. So
Whoa.
I got basically no
Ooh.
sleep last night. Luckily, I did not have to go into work today.
Oh,
Now,
that's good.
yeah, I thought I might. I cleared my schedule, and then we had a storm on Monday.
Yeah.
And then my Tuesday morning patients are procedure patients, so I couldn't do them on telemedicine. So they had to be rescheduled. So they rescheduled some of them to Friday morning. But my nurse, that was the secretary did that, but my nurse, who actually looks out for me, he said he's not going to want to come in for just those 3 patients. And she rebooked them for next
Nice.
week.
Super
So
great.
luckily, because I would not have been able to function this morning, you know, I had to bail on my last conference. I have 3 Zoom conferences in the afternoon on Friday. I got through the first 2, and then I went to the guy who was running the third one. I clicked over there, as early as I could, and I was like, dude, I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to fall asleep on this Zoom meeting. And he was getting his second dose today, also to give himself the weekend in case he has a reaction. So he was like, no problem. Yep, go nap.
Nice.
I woke up just before this live stream.
So do you think you'll be sick tomorrow as well?
Kara said 2 days she had a similar reaction. So this is like 24 hours. Right now is exactly 24 hours. And here's the other thing. Within 5 minutes, my arm was hurting. Within 20 minutes, I was getting chills and low-grade fever within 20 minutes.
Yikes.
30 minutes maybe on the outside.
So
My
your
wife was like,
body
it's too early. I'm like, no, I'm like really feeling it.
Your body detected
Wow.
that and started an immune reaction.
Yeah, which is
Massive.
the whole point. Which is the whole point of the 2-dose regimen, is that the immune response to the second dose is much more robust. But you feel
Why?
it, baby. You feel it.
Mm.
It's called
Why?
an anamnestic response. So because your immune system's already primed, it's not naive, to the antigen. It's already primed, and so you're having the kind of reaction that keeps you from getting sick. This is how vaccines work. But because you're getting it means my immune system is strong, not my immune system is weak. That my immune system is causing all of the symptoms. I'm responding to somebody in the chat, which is good. It's good. It's a good control, because it's like, all right, so when I get a real virus, these are all the symptoms that my immune system is causing rather than the virus. So I don't have a sore throat. I have no runny nose, no cough, right? I just have aches, chills, fever, and now I have a headache because I haven't slept all night,
Yeah.
Guys, mom, I brought mom to the hospital today to get her second dose.
Did you get it?
And that was at 11:30
Yeah.
this morning. And I checked with her at 5 or 4:45, and she's like, I'm fine, totally fine.
Good.
But why the difference then between the reactions? I mean, wouldn't that be more universal? At least some reaction, some immune reaction to the second shot. That
I got the Moderna. Did you get the Moderna?
Pfizer.
Oh, so apparently the reaction to Pfizer is less than Moderna. So it might be which
That's good.
vaccine you get.
Okay.
And the other thing is, if you don't have this reaction, we don't know this. This is speculation, but it might indicate you're not having as much of a robust, antibody response. And so,
That's not good.
No, so we don't know if it's not good. It could be not good. It could just be natural variation. It could be statistically, but not a guarantee. Like if you're
Right.
it could be more that if you have a really bad reaction like this, a bad immune reaction, or I should say a robust immune reaction, that's a good thing. But not having it is not necessarily a bad thing. That's what I suspect. But we'll see. We're still early days, right? It's like we're a month into this thing.
And Evan, did you have something going on?
Did I have something going on?
Yeah, I thought you said you had some type of sickness.
Nope. I'm not in line for the shot yet, and I've been avoiding people like the plague, with the exception of the 12-hour show.
That's literally true.
Yes.
This is probably the one time in our lives where that's literally true. We're avoiding people like the plague.
No, but thank you for asking. I'm healthy and all is well. Jay, how you feeling over there?
I'm
Jay
okay.
is off-handing it for 2 weeks.
I had
That's right. He's a lefty.
so many jokes that I can't say because my clutch is engaged.
We'll say them.
Yeah, I had surgery yesterday on my wrist. I had carpal tunnel surgery.
Are they still all numb and stingy?
No, I called Steve last night. Well, let me tell you the whole story.
All right.
You know, that's what we get to do on the live stream.
Because people love to hear about other people's medical problems. But go ahead.
I mean, if you don't want, I don't have to talk
No,
about
go.
it. You want to
Do
talk
it.
about it. Okay.
I'm yanking
So I
your
was
chain.
born
Go.
in 1968.
Jay, I'm sleep deprived.
Yes.
All right.
I'm a little punchy.
I know. I like it when you're punchy. So bottom line is, when I was building the beginnings of doing my rock wall this summer, and I'm hammering like crazy, and I'm using these really heavy tools, I started to notice that the numbness that I got in my fingertips for the last couple of years got extraordinarily worse. And I never thought that the numbness was carpal tunnel. I didn't connect the dots. But when it got worse, I figured it out. Like, yeah, it's carpal tunnel. So I go to the doctor. He's like, you got carpal tunnel. He gives me cortisone shots in both my wrists, and he says, in about 6 months, you're going to come back to me and you're going to say, I want the surgery. You're right. I believe you. It's what the guy does. So about 6 months, the shot basically wears off. I'm starting to get really bad, nerve pain again. And I caved, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I had it yesterday. So bottom line is, it was supposed to be very painful. I'm not in pain at all. I just feel the pain of the incision, which is right here on my hand, right, on the injured hand. I'm not supposed to be able to do this yet, which is blowing my mind, because every video I saw on YouTube, the people were like, I can only move my fingers like this much. Like, I have full flexibility, no pain. I'm flexing my fingers back, no pain. It's stiff, so I can't bend my wrist, so I don't know what that'll feel like. But like, it's not a problem. I put a garbage bag on it today. I taped it up. I took a shower, no problem. I can lift things with this hand, and so I have nothing to complain about, because when the videos I saw, I was like, thought I'd be in hell for about 3 or 4 days, and I'm fine. So I'm not even like, how you get kind of angry when you're in pain? I don't even have that. I'm just fine. So
yeah, Jay called me last night. Like, these 3 fingers and half of this one, right, were still numb.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, that's the
Well,
median nerve distribution.
That's exactly the carpal tunnel.
Yeah, that's exactly the
fingers that
carpal
get
tunnel. Although there's
affected.
some variability from person to person. That's pretty solid. That's like an 80 to 90% kind of distribution. And but the thing is, like, I don't see people right after surgery usually. So I said, what does it say? Because like, how long is it supposed to be numb? It's fine if it's numb, as long as it gets better. But I don't really know what the time frame was. But I said, definitely, if it's not better by the morning, call the surgeon.
Yeah.
Because it's okay if it's numb because you had surgery and you had a nerve block, and they were moving things out of the way. There's put pressure on it. But if it's continuing to be numb, or it's getting worse, that's always a bad sign. Then it could mean you have a bleed, which is pushing on the nerve, or you're causing nerve damage, and so that would be a bad thing.
But the thing that I thought was very weird, because I'm not a doctor, I don't know, I didn't have anything to think about, was these fingers right here, the ones that are up, which are the ones that are controlled by the carpal tunnel nerve. They were all swollen way more than my pinky. My pinky was totally normal, but I had the swelling, and my fingers were warm to the touch, probably from the swelling. And I'm like, what would make those fingers, like, what did my nerve tell my fingers to do to swell? Like, you know what I mean? like my wrist didn't get swollen. It's very specific, you know. So it's incredible that your body can tell one part of your body to swell. You know, like I find that fascinating.
Jay, do you know what cubital tunnel syndrome is?
No.
Anybody?
Cubital.
Where's the cubital tunnel?
Carpal tunnel.
If
Is that
carpal
your elbow here, Steve?
Yes, exactly. Only at the elbow.
From here, like a cubit, Steve, from here to here.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's called a cubit.
Cubital tunnel. Yeah, could be. This is a cubit. Yeah. Right. So yeah, so you'll have. It looks like you're going to have a good outcome from it, but you still got to be careful with it. Again, a lot of patients are confused about this. Oh, so I got the surgery, so now I can go back to normal life. It's like you still have to baby your carpal tunnel. Yeah. This will just make it work now, right? And people are like, we do the surgery because it wasn't working, but now babying it will work. But you still have to take care. The one time
you don't act like you're 20 years old again.
Well, I was going to get to that point. The one time I did to myself what you did to yourself was I was digging a hole for a tree in my yard. Yeah, and my yard is basically clay and stones, right? So I got to dig a massive hole and put actual dirt in there, you know? And also, I don't know if you guys have ever dug clay and stone.
It's incredibly hard.
It's very hard. So I basically was using a spade and was pushing it down with my foot. And I did that for 3 hours.
Oh, boy.
Not a good idea, because then I came away with my first and only case of plantar fasciitis, which is not fun.
What is that like? The cramps? What is it?
It's your
debilitating.
Yeah, it's debilitating pain in your foot. You like really limping on it. Like you want to use crutches if it's bad. And the thing that's interesting is it's worse when you get up in the morning, and then it gets better with use, because the tendon, you know, the tightens up when you're not moving it. So the treatment is to put a brace on your foot and pull your toes back. And that worked really well, but it took months for it to go away.
Feet take a long time to heal. Ask any athlete. They're like one of the worst injuries they have are feet injuries. They hate
because you have to walk. And then I bought myself a pickaxe.
Exactly. I was just going to say that you have
nice.
A +1 pickaxe.
They work so freaking well. Now, Steve, did you use a pickaxe when you worked on the dump truck for Dad?
Yeah.
Right, because
I'm familiar with the pickaxe. I just didn't have one.
It's funny. Like as soon as I was happy enough to realize I needed a pickaxe, because if you never used one, you don't really know what they're for. You know what I mean? You see people, you know, but my God, do they work well?
1d4 +1 damage.
Yep.
Yeah. They're for when, like Minecraft. Shovels are for dirt. Pickaxes are for hard stuff. Like,
what, you mean the right tool for the right job? Who ever thought?
But talking about doing the wrong thing after surgery, the worst example that I had personal experiences with was my rotator cuff, because they had to not only do the rotator cuff, but they also had to take one of the attachments from my bicep and move it from here to here. So I guess your biceps got multiple attachments going up into your shoulder, and so he took it and he moved it from here to here, and he's like,
Bob, you're too loud. Bob, you're too loud. You're
really?
blowing out. Yep.
Blowing out.
Are you using the wrong microphone?
Are you on your headset microphone?
No, I hear that. You're on. Yeah, you're on the right mic.
Okay.
So he's like, you may feel like you can, but do not lift anything heavier than a soda can, for like a couple months. He's like, because people feel good after a few weeks, and they start picking up stuff, and what can happen is a worst case scenario is the attachment that was moved over to the front of your deltoid rips off, and he's like, if that rips off, you will then have you will lose 20% of your bicep strength. And he's like, and I'm not going back in there to repair it. It's not done. If you do it, it's on you, and that's it. And plus your bicep looks a little weird, like a Popeye bicep. Yeah. So I did not lift anything with that arm for like 3 months. And when I first did it, I was so careful and you know, and scared, because like, could you imagine this thing rips off and like, oh well, that's it. He's not going to go back in and fix it. So he convinced me to be crazy careful.
He was saying that with that extreme, you know, stance to really make it sink in, to not lift anything. I'm sure that a surgeon would.
Partly it's like motivation, like that's scare the crap out of him. There are some times I've had this talk with medical students. It's like the question is, this is like a nuanced clinical thing. When when do you reassure your patients and when do you scare them, right? Because these are both strategies that you use to optimize your interaction and your care of a patient. So generally speaking, you don't want your patients to be anxious. You don't want to unnecessarily scare them. And so you're usually reassuring them. But if you need to motivate patients to do something that they seem reluctant to do, you're actually obligated to scare the shit out of them. You are like legally obligated to do it. Because let's say a patient has a headache. I'm like, all right, it's routine to get an MRI scan with the symptoms that you're having. And they don't want to do it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to go, I don't come out of the gate and say, we have to rule out a brain tumor. I just say, we're going to do an MRI scan. And if they say no, I say, well, it's standard of care. We really need to do it. And I just keep upping the game. And they say, well, why do you want to do it? I pretty much have to tell them. It's like, well, it's probably not anything concerning, but we need to rule out, anything that could be causing a headache. If they keep saying no,
do it.
I have to keep upping the game until I have given them full, not only factual, but emotional consent. I have to say, this could be brain cancer that will kill you if we don't catch it early. And that's what the MRI scan is for. Because if you stop short of that, and this is a 1 in 1,000 chance that they do have brain cancer, they could sue you. And they'll say, well, he didn't say I could have brain cancer. If he did, I would have gotten the MRI scan. Right?
Great.
Yeah.
So
That makes total sense.
Does that make sense? It's weird. You're like obligated to scare your patient, but you do it only as much as is absolutely necessary to get them to get them full consent. They need full consent. They can still refuse at the end, but you've documented. I told them A, B, C, and D, and it's their choice.
I think it's the absolute right stance because your job is to encourage them to make the right medical decision.
Yeah. Someone in the chat was saying, yeah, as a lawyer, you have that come to Jesus meeting with the client. I could see that too. It's like you need to do X or you're going to jail or whatever.
So I haven't had surgery in a while, and I was like very, very much paying attention to just the whole thing. Their COVID protocol was excellent. They really, it's wonderful to see how well the medical community has adapted to all this, and they do everything. They check your temperature. I had to get a COVID test. They asked me over and over, multiple people asked me if I'm, do I feel any coughing or, short of breath, any of that stuff. Then they kept, Steve, I think you'll find this interesting. I had about 6 or 7 people ask me to tell them why I'm there. Mm-hmm. And they were very specific. Why are you here?
Why are any of us here?
No, I should have thought of that and said, I don't think anybody really knows.
Is that an
really
existential
here?
question?
Yeah. So
they probably get that all the time. Whenever you think you're telling a clever joke,
you're not.
You're not.
Yes, but don't let that stop you either. That's not a
That's the dad joke philosophy. Yeah.
But in a very specific, they wanted to know the procedure and what side of the body. And they do that because there's been mistakes. Mistakes
have occurred.
Yes.
Mistakes were made.
People have been surgicized on the wrong side of the body.
That's the Swiss cheese model too. So it's the checklist approach, right? There are people whose job it is to go down the checklist and make sure everything is correct. But also you want to have multiple people check mission critical things.
Yeah.
Because then the probability of it failing goes way down, like by orders of magnitude, and that's what you want if you're flying a plane or doing surgery or flying to the moon or whatever.
But then my surgeon came in. I mean, you might be able to see this. You see that little blue dot on my hand right there? He drew all these things on my hand, and then he drew exactly where the incision was going to be, and then he drew a circle and a smiley face. Yeah. Like it was all, reinforcing the side of the,
Jay, I've also seen doctors write wrong side on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all heard those crazy stories.
Yeah.
And then another thing I played around with, like, I'm talking to the anesthesiologist, and she's like, okay, so I'm going to give you this to relax you, and I'm like, all right. So I'm like, how long does it take for me to feel it? And she's like, it's immediately. So I said, so she tells me, okay, it's going in now. And then I'm like, all right, I'm feeling it. And we were, I remember we were like, basically I was laughing because I'm like, this is it's a good drug. It feels good, and you cannot focus on the ceiling. You just feel very relaxed and sleepy. And then, Steve, do they just turn up the dosage on that to make you go to sleep, or do they introduce another drug?
Both. They titrate, to your level of consciousness, but they're also giving you a sequence of drugs. They got it really dialed in. I've had anesthesia at various times throughout my life, so over the last 50 years. The most recent time I had it was sweet. I mean, it was like the procedure just didn't exist. It was just erased from my memory. Yeah. And I had no after effect, no grogginess, no weirdness. It was just, it's over.
But you're unconscious, right? I wasn't conscious at all during the surgery.
You are more than unconscious. You are comatose.
Your brain stops communicating normally to itself.
So it's also that they give you a drug so that you don't form memories during the procedure.
So anything could have happened.
Yeah, they roofie you.
Yeah, but there's like 6 or 7 people in the room. It's not going to happen. And plus, I mean, at this point, if anybody wanted to take advantage of my 52-year-old body, good luck.
Well, I mean,
good luck enjoying my ass. My ass is a dumpster fire.
You are 100%. You are 100% vulnerable when you're under anesthesia. That is correct. That's why you have to trust professionals. Because that is an extremely vulnerable position to be in.
It's really cool how absolutely streamlined this process is. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. They're all moving in coordination. I just thought it's really comforting to know that we have professionals that can do this. I mean, there are people that are not afraid to cut into another person and fix their body. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's cowboy, totally. And you have to have a certain, confidence, a certain chutzpah. And it's also, you're also taking a lot of, risk onto yourself. When you do procedures on patients, the liability goes way, way up. Now, I have tremendous respect for my surgeon colleagues. Also like neurosurgeons, they go into people's brains and muck around in there for like 12 hours at a time.
We're so profoundly sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
What about conscious sedation? I remember you suggested that for me, for my vasectomy. Why did I do air quotes for that? I don't know.
Because did you get it? We don't really know. How would we know?
That was the way to do it. Guys,
that's how I had. That's what I had recently as well. Yeah.
If you're getting a vasectomy, get conscious sedation. It was the easiest surgery ever.
Yeah. This is probably too much information, but I had it without and with. I had vasectomy without anesthesia, and they failed. And then they had to rebook me with conscious sedation, and it was a breeze. And the one without anesthesia was literally 2 hours of torture before they finally were willing to give up. The thing is, I should have pulled the plug on it. In retrospect, I would have pulled the plug on it at the very beginning and said, nope, we're going to do this under anesthesia.
Right, Evan?
But you have to say, it should be a 5-minute procedure. So the whole time I'm thinking, all right, just a few more seconds,
Just a few more seconds.
I've come too far to give up now. Just do it. Just snippity snip, and I'm done.
The doctor came from behind.
I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up on it. And I should have,
So then I told Steve I'm getting a vasectomy. He's like, Bob, he grabs him by the shoulders and looks at me. Conscious sedation. Please promise me you'll do conscious sedation.
Hell yes. Well, why would you ever let anybody cut into your body while you're conscious?
I mean, they give you a local. It's just easier for them to do with a local because it's fewer people required. They don't have to get the anesthesiologist in there. It's a cheaper procedure. So if you can't do it, so 99% of the time, it's very superficial. It just so happens that mine was deep and they couldn't find it. So I just had an anatomical variant. So they were digging around in there for what seemed like forever. And it was
because if Steve had an anatomical irregularity, then there's a higher chance that I would have the same one, which I didn't. So that was a good move. Still, even without the anatomical irregularity, I think I still would have done it because it was just a nothing
variation.
Burger.
So Steve, you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the conscious sedation.
Okay.
When I woke up, man, I paid attention. I remember when I lost consciousness, the last thing I saw were
Mm-hmm.
the lights on the ceiling. And then when I woke up, I was in
Saw
the
the lights on the ceiling.
I was in the recovery room, sitting up.
Yeah.
I was sitting up. When did I sit up? Did they sit me up? Did I sit up? What happened?
I was still on the
Problem.
operating table. I came right out. Like there was no transition. It was just. So Evan, why am I thinking Southeast Asia? Cambodia? No.
No, that's a good guess. A lot of
Is it Pangaea?
Yes, Jay, it is
Oh.
Pangaea.
I just saw an animation of everything that they think the Earth has done, the land masses of the Earth. And it was cool how, like, Pangaea wasn't really the first landmass. I think it formed after, like, some pieces came together, then it broke apart again. It's really interesting.
There's Pangaea, there's Gondwana land, there's
New Zealand.
No, there's a third one. There's a third one.
Your America was part. Another one, Laurentia.
Laurentia. Yeah, Laurentia.
Yeah. Yep. Now here's a bonus trivia, guys.
Yeah.
What was the name of the ocean that surrounded Pangaea?
It starts with an A. It was
No.
Oceania.
Does it start with a TH?
No, it begins with a P.
Pacific.
I did not know this until I looked it up. No, it's not Pacific. I did not know this until I looked it up today.
I don't know. What was it?
Oceanus.
Panthalassa. Panthalassa.
You know,
some people guessed it. Some people guessed it.
Yeah, they did. There it is. Yeah, a lot of good guesses.
I said TH because I was thinking Thalassa. I didn't know how to pan in front of it.
Yeah.
You have to just trust me on that one.
Man. So, Evan, I see in the negative space.
Yeah.
I see a very cartoony face right there. That's the mouth.
Nose.
Yeah,
The big nose coming out and a really low forehead, like a bump forehead at the very top. That bump
up here.
That's the nose, and then if you go out a little, it's the top of the head, like a troll kind of head. You know.
I thought I saw like a profile of Jay Leno. You know, this is an exercise.
Oh my God, the hair. Yes, that's his,
that's kind
his
of
booth.
his poof over here, and here's his lips.
Yes,
right? And here's
that's
his
chin.
nose.
Oh my God, I totally see it.
So that was my first thought.
What are the odds?
Now I had to pull a picture of Pangaea because the ones I found online, they all have the markers of, you know, the dividing lines of the obvious continents, and they mark it all up. So I'm like, oh, I couldn't find one just with a silhouette and nothing there. So I had to go in and actually erase all the details out of that. This took a half hour.
Yeah, it does. It takes a little while.
It does take. But congratulations. Lots of correct guesses. I believe is it Bobby from the Discord channel chimed in correctly first there. So well done, sir. Well done.
So guys, what is next for the SGU? What do we got coming up? I was looking at our calendar. We have basically no events between now
and August.
And Nexus, which is in the first week. It's the first weekend of August.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was thinking maybe we should do something.
Like what?
I don't know. Like we could try something different. Maybe we could do like a 3-hour stream of something.
We have to keep using the green screen space to make sure we keep our chops up and we make sure that we have all the equipment that we need and everything. So I think like just a regular 3-hour show. Like it'll be a regular podcast, but we'll do it live. And we'll stream it.
Yeah, extended podcast.
So extended. Steve, I had a talk with Jocelyn, Jocelyn is Steve's wife.
3-hour tour.
And Joss goes, so Steve said, and she heard him say, like, when we hit 5,000 patrons, we're going to do a 24-hour.
5,500.
That's 5,500.
Yeah.
So, we got 700 people to go to get to 5,500. And when we do that, we have a 24-hour show. And Joss comes to me and she goes, do you really want to do a 24-hour show? And I'm like, no, I don't. And we both agreed at the same time when we were talking, we're both like, let's do 2 12-hour shows, like, 11 to 11 on Saturday and then 11 to 11 on Sunday as an example, because then we can get some sleep and not have it be so frantic.
Well, Jay,
isn't that part of the fun though, of being exhausted?
If you recall,
yes,
we were going to try to do a show out of the Star Trek Museum. So we could do the first half there and the second half in the studio
That would be amazing. Yes, that would be really cool.
with a break in between.
4-hour
So
drive.
It's 24 hours, just not contiguous.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Non-contiguous hours.
plus it gives the audience the ability to sleep too. Like, who the hell wants to, stay up for 24 hours? There's not that many people that would do it.
Well, the only thing is that we have to make sure that we hit all the continents, that we're not assing out Australia.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you haven't seen the 12-hour show, you can see it on the YouTube, on the SGU YouTube.
Wow, it went fast.
Those
It
12
did.
hours went super fast.
It went
did
faster
go.
than you think. I mean, it still was an endurance thing because, Ian and I are like working our asses off. It gets worse as that final week approaches. Then we're just like, we got to go every day and putting in late nights. But I loved it. We were very prepared, and it was very fun. And I felt like the audience was a huge part of it. It was great.
Oh, they were.
And
They were.
Celeste, who's a patron of ours, she's a blacksmith. That's her full-time job, and it was really cool. She came on and showed us a whole bunch of things, and we had the watermelon.
The
incident.
watermelon moment. That's
which was funny.
legendary.
Live in infamy,
now.
yeah, it's
Oh
legendary.
yes.
And
That goes into the SGU scrapbook forever.
Can we just forget that, please?
yeah, it's really cool.
No, you don't know how good it was actually.
Yeah, it was funny as shit. It really was. We all like
So-
swallowed we were all like, what? Like, that just happened.
People are still commenting today, even
One thing-
unprovoked, that they loved it so much.
I think it was part of the funny thing for the audience must have been our reactions, because they
Sure.
had their own, but because I bet you that everybody
Sure.
that was watching the screen all did that thing, whatever. What would you call that? Like, what?
The guffaw or the
Double take.
Yeah. I think I went like this. I covered my face.
So we do have SGU Productions is we are working on the game show, which is called Boomer versus Zoomer, BVZ.
Yeah. I'm a one-time champion of that game.
I know, really, you did. You didn't just kick ass. You really kicked Bob and Kara's ass on that. So we have that coming up on the 13th. Is our final our test episode, and then the legit episode is going to be. I think we scheduled it for the 20th, which I'll be putting that up on our calendar and everything. But it should be a lot of fun. I mean, we love the game show idea that we came up with. It's all about the generations competing on a trivia level with each other. And we've been working on this thing for 8 months now, 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really polished. It's really good.
But
George.
slowly, it's not like we've been working every day for 8 months.
No, but we chip
That's
away
because
at it.
Yeah,
and
we've been chipping away at it. Because stuff's
And,
been happening, like the pandemic and stuff.
Kernan Coleman, who is the graphic designer that the SGU uses, he did all the 3D sets for us, which was so much fun developing.
Mhm.
So come check it out. We'll put the links up. You'll be able to get the links on our website very soon. Ian and I will make sure we get to that. The other good news that I have is that the SGU store should be launched, I believe, by Monday. I'll have the store up on the website.
Awesome.
It's going to start with basically all of our best T-shirts. I'm vetting other swag items right now. I make them send me everything. I want to see it. So
Yeah, you gotta see that.
so I have more stuff on the way that I'm going to pick. I'm just curious to know what people like. As an example, today there was a gym bag. I don't know if people would like an item like that or not. I thought it looked really cool. But would people care to buy a gym bag, with our logo on it? I don't know. I'm going to probably just poll the audience and ask people some questions at some point.
Do we have SGU masks yet?
I can make those. I got to tell you something. I am so picky about masks. I've worn a lot. I've tried a lot. It's very rare that I really feel like a mask works well. There's 2 masks out of the couple of dozen I've tried so far that I like, and they're not swaggable. They're too expensive to be swag.
Okay.
So, if you buy a $3 mask and it's got $2 worth of print on it or whatever, it's not going to be a good mask. So I don't want to. Yeah. I'll see. I'll talk to the people at the company that I'm working with to see if they want to send me some samples. But I'm very, very particular about our swag.
So did you guys heard Christopher Plummer died today?
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
91,
Oh, no.
91, good run.
My gosh.
Yeah,
So
man.
many good roles, so many good movies.
Connecticut resident, right over here in Westport, too.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
He did Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. One of
Oh,
the
yes,
better-
he did.
One of the better.
The Shakespeare
Richard
reciting
Stewart
Klingon, yes.
Yeah. I love the
Yeah,
fact
man.
that, he had such a long and varied career, and he
Totally.
wasn't afraid to do roles like Star Trek and throw everything into it. He was still awesome Christopher Plummer, even when he was doing a minor part in a movie that itself may not have been, terribly great. He was just an actor. Of course, The Sound of Music is probably his most, famous role, but
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I
really great actor. I always loved
man.
seeing him on screen.
me too. And just scroll through his IMDb, and the guy goes so far back, and every once in a while you'll be like, "Oh, that was a great movie. Oh, that was a great movie."
Yeah.
He's got a lot of good work on there.
Tons.
It's
Highly
hard.
respected.
Yeah, it's hard to feel bad when somebody gets into their 90s. Like that is just such a amazing age to get to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucks. I am one of the people out there that believes that death is it's an engineering problem that we need to fix, and it's a tragedy every time the world loses somebody. It's what do we say, Bob? It's a library.
Lost, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it sucks. It sucks that we get such a short amount of time. By the time you get your shit together, you're old and you're on your way out. As far as I'm concerned, I am just now like living the life that I've wanted my whole life. I'm just now starting it, and I'm in my 50s.
Well, that's why you always gotta enjoy and live your life at any age, wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
You shouldn't really look at the future. Go, things will be great when this happens in the future. Forget
Right,
about
Bob?
it. Just enjoy what you're doing right now. There's always something to. I mean, obviously, people have challenging situations.
I know, but Steve, it's
Can only control what you can control.
Yeah, you gotta just
it's
make
like
the best of
telling-
your situation.
I think what you just said is a little bit similar to telling someone who has panic disorder to not be panicky.
No,
It's
I'm not
like-
saying. That's why I threw the caveat in at the end. I'm not saying that. I know that people have serious problems with their lives, that they need to deal with. But the thing is, what the research shows is that people are resilient and people can be happy in almost any situation. You think, somebody who has broke their neck and they're a paraplegic or a quadriplegic, they must be miserable all the time. They actually, after 2 years, they pretty much return to their baseline happiness.
You got a set point. If you're happy
Yeah,
now,
so
you're going to be probably
I think-
happy.
Yeah, I think that just the thing. I do think that you could get distracted from what you can enjoy about your life today because you're looking toward the future. You got to do both. Like I always want, if you want to maximize your happiness, enjoy what you have now.
Mhm.
Fix whatever problems there are as much as you can, and just always make things a little steadily, incrementally better. You don't want to overshoot really fast because then you'll be super happy and then for 2 years and then miserable, and you'll have no place to go. But if it's because our happiness is partly relative, if we're always just a little bit better than we were the year before or 2 years before, that's the way to maximize your happiness. So you want to plan your life trajectory so that you're always slightly improving your situation, but you're always enjoying your life wherever you are.
Yeah.
It's hard to engineer that, but I mean, that's if you wanted to maximize happiness, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, you ever see someone that you could clearly say their life peaked very early? Like you could look at not like Justin Bieber as an example. The guy, when he was very young, became incredibly famous, money, everything, and then I look at his life and I'm like, man, I don't know how good it can be from here on out, because you did this unbelievable thing that you will compare the rest of your life to how good it was. It's like David Lee Roth said, sprinkle when I die, sprinkle my ashes over the 80s, and it's he'll never be Diamond Dave again and live the life that he lived in the 80s.
Well, that's the other part, looking in the past, right? He's like, pining for the glory days. That's why it is bad to peak early. And the thing is, somebody like Justin Bieber or David Lee Roth, if they're past their prime, figure out a way to make your life meaningful at this stage of your life.
Right.
Again, yes.
And I think counselors talk a lot about that. You have to appreciate the stage of life that you're in. And the people who are not happy, one of the things that make people not happy is they're trying to have the life they had when they were younger.
Yeah.
And they just can't let go of that. And that is in many contexts, It's like, no, you're not 20-year-old Jay. You're 50-year-old whatever Jay. And you have to figure out how to be happy as Jay in his 50s.
Yeah.
And if you're expecting your life in your 20s, you're going to be disappointed and you're
Yeah.
going to be unhappy.
Listen to the words of Edna Mode, and I never look back.
Edna
Her,
Mode.
his voice, but she's right. It's like don't even look back. Look
That
Yeah.
again,
You know,
that's one of those
create-
things though. It's so hard to not. I mean, I look back
Yeah, I hear you, Jay.
for a
Dude,
lot
trust
of
me.
reasons. You know, I look back to fond memories. I look back to times in my life that I didn't realize were a time. You know, like an era of.
That's the thing. You didn't realize at the time
Right.
that was
Yeah.
something you like, Jay, enjoy your time right now with your kids. Enjoy it.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
Look
trying
for
to. I mean,
ways to enjoy it.
I do.
But don't-
You're right.
When
Jay,
they get
think of
older,
it-
don't pine for the young kids. Enjoy them at that age. You got to enjoy your kids at every
Right.
age. It's the same.
Jay, think
basically the
about
same thing.
what helps me. Think of yourself in the future, wishing you were you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah,
of that poor schmuck in the future. It's going to be like, Jay had an awesome, in
But
the
generally speaking, Bob,
2020s, and
Generally speaking, people get happier as they get older. They get more content with their life because they
That's been
have more
studied.
perspective. They don't
plus
sweat the
they're
little
more-
stuff. Yeah.
plus they're more mentally compromised.
No, even without frontal lobe damage, they just got their shit together more because you figure
I'm
out.
definitely-
Not everybody, but just statistically speaking.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you mellow as you get older. Everything isn't as extreme, I mean, this past year was an exception because of multiple things that were going on. But for the most part, your brain kind of calms down and you see things in a much more wise way, and you're not so affected by the wind blowing your emotions around and all that crap. So I'm very happy right now. I mean, I work for a company that is like my life's
Slave
mission
driver?
statement. It's
Yeah.
it's an incredible reason to be alive. I love working with you guys. My wife and my kids everything is in a good position. I'm just trying to soak it in, trying to slow time down a little bit just so it doesn't go
Carpe
by.
diem. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Jay, the
It
first
makes-
SGU prototype mask is out. What do you?
I think it's good. I like the
Yeah.
fact that I like that you handmade that. That's cool. That's
Although
worth something.
honestly, I prefer ones that have the logo here, so it doesn't look like it's across your mouth. There's something that bugs me about the across the mouth words or logo. I don't
Interesting.
know.
Yeah.
I like it when it's off to the side.
I
It's
don't have
more-
another
I don't
mask
know.
here to experiment.
That
with.
is my bias.
and the
Well,
and the added benefit that it smells like a Sharpie. So
Yeah, right. There
Yeah.
you go.
Nice.
Yeah, you
Good
can
boy.
protect yourself from a virus and get high. at the same time.
yeah, I feel woozy.
But
So
guys, I wonder what would it be like though, when we, I think eventually we will be able to extend lives into the centuries. What would it be like psychologically to live 200, 300, 400 years? Would it really
Yeah,
be difficult?
I
Would
think
we
it would.
hit some wall?
absolutely, it would be
And-
challenging.
I mean, challenging. Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's some like
It may
Neil
suck.
Asher's.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
Yeah, or what if you're in
Yeah.
chronic
They're like-
pain for 150 years?
No, that would be
what
the-
is that?
Or
Yeah,
even if it's
no,
not
I'm
pain.
assuming-
What if you're bored with everything? I'm already getting bored. Like,
If you're bored, you're a
Serious?
punk.
no,
You're a
let-
punk. How many
let
books
me-
haven't you read? How many movies haven't you seen? How many things haven't you done? How many
let me-
careers haven't you
all right,
taken?
shut up.
Come
Let
on.
me clarify.
Let him clarify.
So what I'm saying is, like the pandemic, over the pandemic, because we can't do other stuff. We've been
Right.
watching a lot. We've been binging a lot of TV shows, and and movies and series and everything. And I'm like getting bored with it. Because it's like we see every plot twist coming a mile away.
It's
Yeah.
Groundhog Day. It is kind
It's
of
Groundhog Day a little bit, yeah.
I
And
agree.
my threshold for enjoyment is way up, where it would be. So I'm just extrapolating from that. Like, would that same thing apply to life? Like, at some point, you're like, I'm just bored with everything. I've done everything. I've been there. Nobody can surprise me anymore. Even if you try to,
Fine.
yeah.
Everyone should
I'm
be
just
able to.
speculating. I'm just speculating.
Everyone should be able to get to the point where they're done. They're just like, all right, I've done everything I want to do. Like The Good Place.
Yeah.
I think we'll get to the point where that's what life's going to be like. People will live pretty much as long as they want, and then
Yeah,
until they're
that's
done
fine.
with it. But then,
Then
if
hit
you
the kill
if you
switch.
get bored, then delete some of your memories and imagine watching Star Wars for the first time again. How awesome
But isn't
would that
that a kind of death, though?
Ooh.
That's neurological death.
be? It's better than real death.
Is it?
I mean, sure.
At some
Sure,
point,
absolutely.
listen, somebody put it, I'm sure many people have put it this way. Our life is a tiny span of time sandwiched in between two infinities.
Right.
And nothing
Yeah.
will ever change that. No matter
Right.
how long you live, there's still going to be an infinity before you and an infinity after
Right.
you. And
Right.
at some
But
point,
what's your point?
your stream of consciousness will end.
Right. So
That's
why
it.
not just
And
kill
there's nothing
yourself
you can do
before
to-
you're on your first birthday?
No, but that is a straw man. That's not
What?
something you could meaningfully extrapolate. My point is,
So yeah, what's your point?
my
Because I'm not
point
seeing
is
it.
that it's not it isn't necessarily true that an extremely extended lifespan is going to. First of all, it doesn't mean you're going to avoid death. At some point, you're going to have to face
Of
death.
course, they
But
put
what
estimates on that.
where I will agree with you is
20,000 years.
yeah, if people could live as long as they want, that would be fine. I'm happy. I'm not arguing against that. As long as everyone has.
As long as we
the
have a
right-
few planets to move
Steve.
back and forth between, maybe.
Yeah.
Steve, you
Because,
literally gave me
Earth can't handle
a
much
not
more.
insignificant panic attack when you
Yeah.
said that. I literally,
Infinity sandwich.
my whole protocol in my head, just all my flags went up. All the things that I do to stop myself from falling into a legit panic attack went off. Because
But again,
it's big
Just
space.
enjoy your life now.
It's the big, it's funny how like one of the trigger points for me that makes me panicky is when I become faced with something tremendously huge, like what you just said.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes I'll be
infinite
thinking
beyond.
about how big the galaxy is or the universe is,
Oh, it's
100,000
big.
light years,
It's
95
bigger than you even
million
think
light
you
years.
think it is.
or like you ever get this
90.
perspective, like if you had the Earth, a dust particle, and an atom,
Mm-hmm.
they're equally size different to each other. So the
Yeah.
Earth to a dust particle is equally to a dust particle to an atom.
Yeah.
That's how small atoms are. And we are stuck in this particular size of existence,
Yeah.
which might be a dimension. You ever think about that?
We're in
That's-
medium world, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're middle people.
But
middle creatures,
size
middle-
itself could be a fucking
Middle Earth.
dimension, which I find so weirdly fascinating. Like there might be organisms that we don't know exist that are so small or so big, we don't know.
Jay, you should look at the
Blank.
total perspective vortex.
I don't. That's
Oh,
when
yeah.
Jay,
Steve,
I
people
love
don't
that.
do it. Don't do it, Jay.
people lose their
I love
mind when
it.
they go into it. I would lose my mind online to go fucking into it.
How great would that? be?
Unless the
forget it.
universe was created for you, Jay, don't do it. So, Steve, my point was that that I think we will eventually find out how human psychology deals with centuries
Dramatically
of life.
extended lifespans. I agree.
Yeah,
We'll
I
find
think
out.
I'd love to be able to know what it would be like.
Sure.
I'm all for it.
It'll happen.
I
It'll
certainly
happen.
don't want to
I wanna
die
live-
before I'm ready.
I want to
wanna see
live
stuff.
in a very long. I would love to live for thousands of years and fully explore myself and fully
It's a
explore.
lot of death of other people you have to experience. I mean,
Yeah.
you're cramming a ton of that stuff in.
I know, but what if
into
a
one
group
life.
of people
I'm okay
did
with
it
that. I'm
together?
okay with
you
that.
know?
Your children, your children's
Well,
children.
I assume that
all
they'd
of them.
also,
Yeah.
And the
eventually
emo-
everyone will have the opportunity to live.
I don't know. It's
For centuries.
It's not really calculable.
There's a math problem there. Yeah. Should we do the quiz?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do the quiz.
Hey, Ian,
Okay. Yes.
is somebody said that I didn't do a rant, but I did a ganja monologue. Is that on the?
No.
Wolfie?
No, monologues
Ganja.
are not on that.
Got me monologuing.
A ganja monologue.
Sly dog.
No, I like to think about
Still one
things-
of the best
Steve,
Pixar movies.
Steve, I say that whenever we watch a damn movie, and it happens so often, where the bad guy comes in, they
they
have the
all
good guy to
monologue.
rights.
Yes.
The person
Yes.
is dead, and then they start
Yep.
talking. I have to say out loud, Liz,
Got me
and Liz
monologue.
will back me on this. It's like, oh, he's monologuing, of course.
Did
Why don't you
Shakespeare invent that?
rush
Okay,
over
that's
and
a-
kill them as soon as you can. I mean,
See, Bob, that's
Yeah,
my
that's a
point.
shame.
It's a tired trope
That's
that we will have to
so
deal with for
frustrating.
1,000 years.
Yes,
Right,
I'm willing to.
Exactly.
You want to hear something that pisses me off? That is not really in line with what you're saying. It just popped into my head.
No.
And it's about death. What? Why the fuck did Yoda die? Like he's getting into bed. Luke is talking to him. Everything is fine. And then they shift right into him dying. Like where the fuck did that come from?
Oh
He
gosh.
spent his life energy. He was what? He was pushing
800.
800 years.
Jay, he only hung
800.
on long enough to train Luke.
Did he?
That was
Yeah. Did
it.
he choose
That's
to
it.
die?
Yeah,
at
maybe
that
his
moment?
normal life expectancy is 200 years, and he was pushing it to 800.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
plus
maybe he
the
chose.
latex was getting dried out.
But he didn't
Gotta throw
sound
that
like he was
away.
going to die earlier in that scene. Then all of a sudden he's like, It's like his voice just gets all like, what happened?
It got very Elmo
Yeah,
sounding.
we were just eating dinner, walking outside. Next thing you're kicking on me in the bed. Like what? I don't get it.
As he
Empire
said,
Strikes Back is still the best of all those.
Powerful am I with the Force, but not that powerful or not that strong.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, they should have had him like they should have had Yoda on the roof for a little while first, right? Yoda's on the roof.
Playing a fiddle.
I don't get it.
Quiz.
So
Yeah,
in the
we're waiting for Ian's gonna get it going.
All right.
link energy.games. Here's our link here, which I just pasted in the chat thing for us, darkenergy.games. And Frank wanted to let everyone know that you can upload an avatar if you wish by going to the top right, I believe, and then there's a profile image if you're logged in. So make sure that you do
I'm totally doing
log
that.
in. And if it doesn't show up, it may be because you have an ad blocker on your Chrome or Firefox or something to that effect. So go ahead and add an avatar.
So in the upper right, you
Anyone
click
using
Yeah, top right-hand corner logo to show
Anyone
the
use
link. to your
Bing?
profile.
by the way?
Bing.
Bing. Ask
I don't-
me.
maybe it
Do I
doesn't work
Bing
for us the
things?
same
We don't
way.
Bing things. Yeah, I don't think it works for us. Anybody else who's making it, you can upload it.
And don't forget to put the sound on because George wrote the music and it's actually
That's
fun.
right. And now, Steve, you can add the sound if you wish.
Yeah.
You can get it.
Everybody's asking for a link in the chat, Ian.
I posted it. Maybe not. It didn't go. I'll
Oh
post it
yeah, I
again.
think I have a.
Here we go. Dark Energy games.
Yeah, Frank continues to improve the software, and I really appreciate that he does it.
I'll pin the link as well, everybody.
Appreciate
awesome.
it, Frank.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. I really do appreciate it, man.
Frank watches the show, right?
Games.
I think he does watch the live stream sometimes. He's in Germany, so it's basically past his bedtime every time we do this.
Frankenstein.
He said that I'm pretty sure that Frank stays up till we start just to make sure that his server is finely tuned and everything's working.
Eins in the Morgen.
Guys, do you remember that our father used to count in German all the time to us? 'Cause I guess one of his friends taught him to count.
Who,
And
Jay?
Dad used to count
yeah.
in German. He
Eins,
used to count
zwei.
eins, drei,
Eins, five.
And
Yeah,
what is
zwei, drei,
five is
vier.
fünf, right? Or fünf?
Fünf.
Yeah,
Fünf.
Fünf.
Fünf. F-U-N-F.
Right.
Frank
Yeah,
is the guy
that's-
that created the quiz software. He did
That's
it
right.
for us.
He's
All right.
the,
Are we ready?
the lead of Dark Energy games. We still only have about 370 people in.
What?
Still going up. Still going up slowly.
Come on, people.
Astounded.
Michael Williams, what does fun mean? Is that
Fun.
is that five?
That's five,
Or is that a different
yeah.
word? It is. Oh,
No, that's 5.
Oh, Jonas is in. We can start. So yeah, it says up to the top right. There should be a logo, probably Dark Energy logo or something to that effect.
it's a
Click
squid,
on
I
it.
think. The squid alien.
Oh, it might be
thing.
the squid. Yeah,
It's an
click on
infinity
that,
squid.
and there should be a profile drop down or something, unless you have a ad block. Which
Jay,
may-
number 6 in German is sex,
Yeah.
and to travel is fart. So I
Yeah.
thought you'd enjoy those.
Yeah. Remember, I saw that book in the airport in
Austria.
Austria. Yeah, that was Überfahrt. To an American, that's very funny. Der Überfahrt.
Yeah,
They forgot to
Uberfahrt.
run that by the American.
I do that all the time. Steve, do you think people fart while they're in surgery, like while they're
Yeah.
under?
Yeah.
Got to happen.
Sure. Things get
Biological
away.
processes still go on.
They don't. You should be, NPO. Nothing orally, so that you should be cleaned out. Right. You try to minimize the probability that you'll evacuate your bowels in the middle of surgery.
I had somebody tell me how to swear in French, and I never knew if it was real or if he made it up.
What was it?
I could say it. I don't know. I know what he said it meant, and it's not the kind of thing I would want to say
Yeah.
in English.
Blind. Yeah.
But if it's not in English, I don't think people would care.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I think everyone's swearing in the.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of swears and farts and all sorts of stuff going on.
Somebody told me that I should look up farting after a colonoscopy.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
Why?
I will. I don't know.
No.
See, Evan, if you live for 1,000 years, you'll have the time to look up this stuff.
Oh my gosh, you could be one of the most well-learned people in history. No doubt about it. No doubt about that.
While we're waiting just for the last stragglers, has anybody been watching WandaVision?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to watch it. Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Just
Yeah, I mean, it was a
WandaVision.
hard start. It was hard to watch the first few episodes.
Worth
but
it.
it was the promise that it was going somewhere, and it does go somewhere. So stick with it.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, by the way, somebody reminded me of something very important. So George Hrab,
Yeah.
the man that we all love, is having his 700th episode celebration
Damn.
tomorrow. You can find the link on his Facebook page. I'm going to link it on our page. I've told George to email me the link. Let me check my email. He did send me the link. He says it's at 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, Saturday. And I will give you the link in the chat.
Sweet.
There he is. And I will also put that on our Facebook.
Did you post it as you?
700.
What do you mean, on the Facebook?
No, on YouTube.
I
I
think we
did.
should have
Yeah.
a special episode when we get to our next prime number episode.
I'm gonna see it.
Oh gosh, now you're gonna make us. Look
Send me
that
the
up,
link
right?
too, Jay. I'll post it as well.
Okay.
It goes everywhere.
I think we should only celebrate prime numbers.
List.
I'll put it in the chat.
All right, thank you. All right, so I think we're good to count down and click. It looks like everybody who's
Oh,
going to play is
gosh.
here. So when I say click after the countdown, everybody click the synchronize button.
811 was prime, Steve.
What's the next one?
821.
821, guys. Prime show.
They may come
All right.
too quickly, Steve.
Nice.
I know.
823 after that. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 921 people watching. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, click.
0 seconds.
Good job.
0 seconds.
3.
All right. All done here. What's my score?
And here comes the link to George's 700. show.
Georges.
George's. Actually, I won't post it till everybody's done spamming.
Look at all these odd prime numbers. They're all odd except for 2. What are the odds?
All right. Seems like everybody's connected. 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
All right, very good. Matthew, don't start. Here we go. George's 700 show is this, and we're going to start the game. And here we go.
We go.
Shock can
boy.
best be defined as hypotension to a critical degree, hypoperfusion of tissues to a critical degree, hypoxemia. Is that what it is?
Hypoxemia.
Hypoxemia, of course, to a critical degree, or all of the above. Brett said, "What?
How? When
Wait
can I
for it.
comment? When can I comment?
Wait
seconds.
for it. Wait for it. Yeah, give it at least. I gave another like
15 seconds.
10 seconds. Yeah, just a buffer, and probably about now.
Okay. How the heck can something be best defined if it means all of the above? What is going on there?
It's defined as all of those things happening at the same time.
But it says here best defined as. Shock can be best defined. There can be only one best. There can't be 3 best.
No, it's all of them at the same time. You need to have
Fail.
all 3 of those things.
I disagree.
Yeah, so if you have hypertension to a critical degree, but not the other 2, then it's not shock.
Best be defined as means there's one
All
answer.
3.
All right, next one. Here it is. The most common cause of fatal transfusion reactions is an allergic reaction, an anaphylactoid reaction, a clerical error, an acute bacterial infection transmitted in blood.
The cleric can turn undead. That could be it. But
Give it about 10 seconds from here. These are Steve's questions, right?
Those first 2 were Jay's. The next 3 are mine.
oh gosh.
Yeah. All right. You could probably talk about it.
Yeah, anaphylaxis.
That's it. Okay.
Just a rash won't kill you, but anaphylaxis will kill you dead.
when you get a bee sting and you have an anaphylactic reaction, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need
That'll kill you.
adrenaline just to open up your airways.
All right, next one. In what portion of surgeries do surgeons, surgeons operate on the wrong body part? 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million.
Some of these
That's
numbers
tricky.
are more disturbing than others by order of magnitude. Oh.
1 in 100,000. That's very low, but still too high.
You gotta wait like 10 seconds.
That's too high.
That's too high. Sorry.
That's fine.
Put that. Might as well put that on the bingo card too. Or say that more than once.
3 for 3. Good job, Rhett.
Yeah.
That's probably in the U.S. I should have included that in the question.
That's why I got it wrong.
Yeah, that's why.
All right, next one coming in is, in what year did the first surgery with anesthesia occur?
Ooh, that's a good
1802,
question.
1846, 1884, 1903.
Who's anesthesia?
Can we get
The
the bingo
history of
cards up there?
anesthesia.
What?
I mean, you know, what? Really? This one.
So
Total guess.
10 seconds.
Total
Damn, I
guess.
missed it.
That was
My
tough,
second-
wasn't it?
My second choice.
I switched my answer at the last second. Got it right.
So this occurred in the Ether Dome in Massachusetts General Hospital. I was there
What?
for a conference one.
The
Really?
Ether Dome.
The Ether Dome.
That's
And,
Welcome to Ether Dome. 2 patients enter, 1 patient leaves.
Boston dentist William T.G. Morton and surgeon John Warren did surgery. Why do you think they call it the Ether Dome?
Because it's a round hemisphere kind of shaped dome. Half
'Cause
dome.
they used ether.
Oh, that's
their
it.
anesthesia.
The dome.
Yeah.
The procedure that involves putting a breathing tube directly into the trachea through an incision is called tracheostomy, tracheoplasty, tracheectomy, tracheal reconstruction.
I hate you for this question, Steve.
All you have to do is know medical lingo, and
Terminate.
it's easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Jennifer would have
That's
gotten this. She'd be like,
I guess
got
right.
it. I think I got
There was
it.
no way I was picking
Yes.
tracheotomy.
I know,
No
I need
way.
a tracheotomy here. Okay.
Tracheotomy is an acceptable alternate one. Tracheotomy or tracheostomy. Tracheectomy would be removing the trachea. Tracheoplasty
Plasty
is
is
altering
reconstruction,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Plasty.
Reconstruction would be reconstructing it. Yeah, pretty obvious. Tracheostomy.
Well,
I put that in there because that's a people frequently say tracheectomy. It's like, no, that would be removing your trachea, not putting a hole in it. An ostomy is a hole.
I think we need quiz court where you can take your wrong answers to a judge and
You
have him
lose.
decide. You get nothing.
You got nothing.
Good days.
So I wonder if we'll see people's avatars now when this ends.
Let's
Avatar.
If the rogues say the answer before, don't change your answer. How about that,
Yeah,
everybody?
we got to figure out a way to deal with this.
I waited like 15 seconds, but I guess
No, you didn't.
Well, it's different for me. I think
You-
you guys see it
Okay.
different than I do.
Okay.
'Cause you said it right.
Oh,
at the
there's
second.
one icon. Not the.
Yeah, there's
second
one
person.
avatar.
Is that a
Well-
cat wearing a cowboy hat?
It does look like that.
Or a monkey. What is that?
Yep,
Or-
it's definitely a
Cat
sad
in a
cat.
cowboy hat.
cat.
Cowboy
Oh,
hat.
somebody uploaded an incredibly high detail picture as their avatar, and it's taking forever to load.
Oh, that'll be something Frank needs to
Yeah,
make
these are thumbnails,
thumbnails. No, he should.
1200
people.
by
Like a 24
900.
megabyte picture.
This is going to be fun. I can't.
Nice.
This whole avatar thing is going to be a lot of fun. Very cool.
So here's a Yogi Berra quote. It's tough to make predictions, especially about the future.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh my god, That guy has got to be
Fair.
attributed to way too many quotes.
When you get
yeah.
to the fork in the road, take it. That's my favorite one. So that'll be a good quiz. Like, is this a real?
Real.
Oh, yeah.
Real
You'll be
quote.
very-
Right.
or a
Real.
fake
That's a good idea.
You could do that with a
correctly
lot of people.
attributed.
You
Oh
could do that with
gosh, all day. Mark Twain.
Mark
forget it.
Twain. Someone just quoted Mark Twain, and it was not. It was not Mark Twain. I looked it up. I'm like, you have to look it up. You can't trust anything.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I heard the playback for some reason for a second.
Ian had it on while the game was
I did.
wrapping
What do
up.
you mean?
I think so. We did hear it. We heard it for about 5 seconds.
Probably
All
Bob.
right, should we
I didn't
take a
think
couple of
so.
questions before I pass out?
Yeah, let's
that'd
do
be
it.
good.
All
Okay. Should schools be opening? Really?
Yes.
I get.
Yes, they should be. Is the short? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, there's a lot of nuances to this. You know, it has to be with proper precautions, with proper PPE and protocols. But the evidence is coming in that like kids missing school is bad. You know, if you're doing risk versus benefit,
Heck yeah.
we really got to get kids back to school. We have to prioritize that. You know, we have to inoculate the teachers because
yeah.
one of the biggest problems was that teachers would get sick, they'd be out, they'd get exposed, and they didn't have the
Get
staff.
them their vaccinations.
Yeah, you got to get them
fast.
vaccinated. So I really think we have to prioritize getting kids back in school. It really is important for their development.
Super.
Yeah, I agree. My kids are already doing better. They're back in school and their behavior is way better just from the structure and
Yeah.
socialization.
Another
Anything else?
question. Yeah, having a stronger reaction to the vaccine, could it mean that if you had COVID-19, you could have it worse than the average?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know that there's any data about that. I don't know. I think that's my short answer. It's an interesting hypothesis. I don't know how we would test that because there are people who had COVID and are getting the vaccine now. I guess somebody could gather that data up and see if there's a correlation. But then it's an artifact though, because you know they had COVID, so that's another variable. So you'd have to go the other way, but you should not get COVID if you had the vaccine, at least 95%. So how are you going to get that data? It's just weird.
Yep. How much of your work cannot be done via telehealth? What types of things require you to see patients in meet space?
Botox shots. For
Yeah,
one
I do.
thing, right?
I have 3 half-day clinics that have to be done in meat space. 2 are Botox procedure clinics, and 1 is nerve conduction studies. And no, the Botox is not cosmetic. It's for neurological procedures, mostly migraines. I'm mostly injecting Botox for migraines now because that's where I'm focusing my clinical work. Yeah, and then nerve conduction studies. It's a procedure. So I have 3 half-day procedure clinics. The rest are just seeing patients, and they all can be done over telehealth, but I prefer to see my new patients in person so I can do a full neurological exam. And so what I'm doing is seeing more new patients when I'm doing my face-to-face clinic, or patients who their exam needs to be followed, or just patients who don't want to or don't have access to telehealth. And then I'm doing like the return patients where I'm just talking with them, from cramming them into my telehealth clinics. It's working out really super well. One of the benefits too is like we had a storm on Monday.
Right.
So clinics were canceled on Monday and Tuesday morning until the roads got cleared. I was able to just transfer my patients to telehealth. You know what I mean? I didn't have to cancel the clinic or reschedule a whole day of patients. I just converted them over to telehealth and saw most of them. You know, some couldn't do it, but I was able to see most of my patients anyway. Same thing with school. There's no more snow days. You guys realize that? No more snow days. You convert to online. We're doing online today because of the storm. No more snow days.
That
It's the
sucks.
same
Yep.
thing.
Well, we had a legit snow day on Monday though at our school. They just closed it down.
They didn't do online.
They didn't do tele?
No,
Weird.
they just converted to online for our school.
Hey, let's think about this. What would it take to make a Botox shot part of telehealth?
You need a
What
robot,
would that take?
right?
Right. So what could they do? Your 3D printer could create the Botox or have a drone drop it off, and then you have a robot arm that you do for things in the house, and that arm then you would maybe you could do a telepresence, Steve, controlling the robot arm to inject the Botox.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Bob, you saw Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Remember when the droid came in with the needle and jabbed
Yeah.
Princess Leia? There you go.
We never found out. We never found out what that dude did, but it looked interesting. But imagine what it would take to have that happen. That sounds feasible.
Not
I mean,
anytime soon. Not
No,
anytime soon.
well, obviously not soon, but it's doable. It's something that our kids may see. Maybe something that could be around in 20, 30 years. I mean, what are we talking? 3D printing and robotic arms and drone delivery? Not big stretches, folks.
It's the robot doing the procedure is the deal. You know.
Steve, we have surgeons doing telesurgery now. Telesurgery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Telesurgery. This is a shot.
You have to. Part of the problem is, but they're doing telesurgery, but the patient's in a hospital. Like you want to do
Controlled
a procedure with a
environment,
patient
yeah.
at home. What if something happens? What if something goes wrong and the patient's at home? You have no way of. Patient passes out, hits their head, and they're unconscious on the floor.
Well, I mean, those are things that got to be dealt with. But
Man, the details.
that's a good, but something like that, it's feasible and not crazy sci-fi. Oh, that shit's never going to happen.
No, but I think there are logistical, ethical concerns that are going to not.
Yeah, but
not gonna be happening anytime soon.
A Botox shot. I mean, how risky is that?
Don't Dunning-Kruger my work, Bob.
How many? Well, you tell me then. How many shots have you given, and how many required a major assistance? Give me a percentage. Rough guess it.
It's very low. It's very low percentage. I've never had a
Okay.
major complication, but the biggest thing is patients fainting. And you have to know how to recognize that they're about to faint and get them down. You know what I mean?
So what do you do when they're about to faint? Do you
late-
slap them really hard in the face to wake them up? Like, what do you do?
No.
Do you
No,
grab them?
Yeah, I say, "How are you feeling?" I definitely put my arm on them, and I make sure I'm supporting them. And sometimes people white knuckle at you, like they don't want to be, they don't want to feel like they're being, children. So
But I've seen people go down. They have that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Where
They
they
start
are
getting-
like,
even
like
before
this.
that. So if they're getting like clammy or pale
Right.
or green, and then they sort of, you could see on their face they're not happy campers, then I just lay them down. You don't want them to fall down. That's the big thing. And you put their legs up, get the blood flow into the brain.
Somebody wrote, "Oh, Dr. Novella, I do believe I'm getting the vapor."
The vapors.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But
Master.
imagine if some of that technology is in place. Imagine for an emergency medical intervention.
Sure.
Right.
Listen.
That type of thing.
Yeah,
You
that's
use
the
the
point.
same
Is
technology.
the point is that the reason why it's not going to happen anytime soon. You're thinking of just is it technologically possible, but I'm thinking of is it not only practical but is it cost effective? You're going to pay for a robot to come to your house and do a procedure that could be done by a physician in the clinic.
No, I was
very,
thinking,
very easily.
I mean, I was thinking more of, robot arms already existing in the household. I mean, Steve,
Your robot butler servant thing.
No, I did.
Like
I did a talk.
multi-purpose.
I've seen. They've got robot arms that will prepare food, that will mimic a chef's cooking of food. They've got arms to
We're
do
not
that
talking about
right
a
now.
medical robot in every home. Then that's different. Then sure, that's
We're so
that's not going to
there
happen
yet.
anytime.
But also, but I mean, the various technologies, the 3D printer for creating really exotic things instead of just figures or whatever they're making nowadays. I mean, that's something that we're going to see in a generation. And drone delivery, hello, I mean that's a no-brainer. So all those technologies are going to be there.
You think
like
about
we always
that,
say,
but if you have
what
drones
form are they gonna
delivering
take?
drugs, expensive drugs, people are going to steal it.
Yeah, definitely got to be a beefy drone with
Drones
weapons.
need a self-defense system. Yeah.
Lasers, shields,
Yep,
Somebody
proton
said you can't
torpedoes.
print 3D liquids.
I don't think that's Bob. Bob, that wasn't what you were talking about, right?
Well,
That's what I heard.
I don't know.
Well,
Can you-
Botox is
you-
a protein. It's in a liquid, but it's a protein. It comes as a dry powder, and then you inject saline into it to dissolve it, and then that's what you inject. But it comes as just a dried powder. It's protein.
Cool. And
Yeah, in bioprinting,
freeze
I mean,
dried
that's
or
something
something.
that's definitely being discussed
We
and
can't
worked
print
on right now.
proteins, though.
Any other questions, Ian?
A couple more. So, is Alice in Wonderland syndrome actually fatal or potentially fatal?
So,
Can you explain what that is?
Drink me.
you mean feeling like you're really small, or
No,
Is
I
that
think
a-
it's the visual distortion of reality. It's characterized as a rare neurological disorder characterized by distortions of visual perception, body image, and the experience of time.
I'm not familiar with it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
LSD?
So it must be
this is
super
very
rare.
rare. Yes, this
Yeah.
is very rare.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
How many patrons do we need to get a flute recital from Steve?
You know, you throw that in there. As we get close, I'll start practicing.
The 24-hour show.
24-hour flute.
24-hour flute show. What are the central reasons that people have migraines?
What's the what?
Central reasons that people have migraines.
We don't know what makes a migraineur different from a non-migraineur, but for a lot of people, it's genetic. It's probably like 60% or so genetic. But migraines also it's a syndrome. It's not one clean pathophysiological entity, so it's probably multiple things that are doing it. People can get post-traumatic migraine, so we know that that's at least one other way to get it. They can get it due to nerve damage. There are strictly familial forms of migraine, but for most people, it's just a genetic predisposition.
Let's CRISPR that one out of existence. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
It's
when
a
you do,
complicated disorder.
somebody wants to hear me play the didgeridoo, I'll do it in the next couple of weeks.
If your hand's up to it.
Yeah.
Another question is, where would you recommend someone go to learn the best skeptical or science-based take on fracking?
We did an interview with a guy who was a fracking expert a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So if you look that up I thought that was a good interview because it was very balanced. It was like, yes, fracking can be bad if it's not done with all the proper precautions and regulations. And so if you abuse it, yes, it could have negative consequences. But if you do it right, in the right context, the right situation, it could be fine. I don't know if I'm not saying that that's necessarily the definitive take on it, but it will give you a good starting point and a lot to think about. I don't know off the top of my head any other definitive sources on what is the bottom line with fracking, but that's a good interview to start with.
Seems like it might be episode 402 or 346. At least I just
Probably
searched.
That
later
long
than
ago?
that.
Yeah.
No, it seems like
Maybe
it's more
not.
recent than that.
thought-
Okay, it's just
yeah.
not tagged then appropriately on the website.
Did
but-
we speak to someone at the at the science conference a couple of years ago about fracking?
Not
I
that I
seem to
remember. I just remember that one interview we did.
Yeah, that was about maybe
years
2 or
ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys want, you can send me an info@theskepticsguide.org and tell me what kind of swag items you're interested in, because that'll help me make some decisions. That's cool, Bob. Why do I recognize that?
The dog?
Yeah.
Robot dog.
How do you know?
Yeah, it's Doctor Who.
K9.
Right?
Okay.
Doctor Who.
Look.
Oh my
Wants
God,
to eat
I'm
pasta?
No, yeah, he's saying I want to eat pasta.
Steve, how long do you think the drugs that they gave me are in my system?
It depends.
Full put one.
Some of
'Cause
them, they're
I've been-
mostly out of your system, but some of them, if they gave you benzos, they can get into your fat, and then they could be there for days. They'll slowly leach out of your fat over days.
Well, I just noticed that I'll get suddenly tired,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm thinking, is that just because the stress of dealing with
Sleep deprivation. Yeah, it's probably a combination, but it could be contributing to that. Could be the drugs. They take a while to totally get out of your system. I remember when our father had surgery, he had his knees done. It took him weeks to bounce back from that. Weeks.
Yeah.
Of course, he was in his 70s, early 80s at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you get older, man, it's hard. Drugs take their toll. You got to be really careful.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's wrap it up. So first, I want to thank
All right.
everyone for coming this week,
Thank you.
and thank Evan for the awesome Pangaea
Yeah, that
map.
was good.
Pangaea. We love Pangaea.
Steve, thanks for helping me with the quiz.
Sure.
Bob, thanks for
Anytime.
just being handsome and shaving your beard.
Ooh.
Yeah, you look better without the beard.
You think?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to, if you want to help support the SGU, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/skeptics guide. We are trying to now hit a 5,500 goal, and that will get us to a 24 hours of live streaming content, whether it's contiguous or not, it'll happen. And thank you. So I'll see you guys here next week. guys, be safe.
Yep. Hang in there, Jay,
We'll talk
Bob,
very
Steve,
soon. Thank
Ian.
you, Ian.
Bye, everyone.
Ian.
Yep,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
Thank you,
Stay,
Ian.
Thanks,
stay
guys.
great. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Continue
did.
to wash your hands. Continue to wear your masks.
Yes.
Please protect other people.
And
Do
get
something nice for
vaccinated.
someone, anyone. Do something nice. Acts of kindness make the world a better place.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.